Jason, I want to address yours first. On the prayer side, you can ask Jeremy. We talked 2 weeks ago about this, and I'm okay either way. I really am. God does this stuff, and I told him, I said, you're going to have marriages and families in these houses that if somehow infidelity is going to happen to one of these neighbors, don't rezone it. Don't let it happen. If one of these kids are going to get hit by a car in traffic, don't let it happen. I don't need it to. You know, this is something that we enjoy doing, because what I think is missed here is that this property at some point years ago was already zoned from agricultural to R1. The R1 density is 167 houses. So 167 can come no matter what. This meeting is voluntarily that we chose to do. If we decided to do an R1 property and put 167, this meeting would never happen. You would never have sidewalks, you would never have the pond, you would never have a traffic study. None of that would happen. We would just never be here. And guess what? With 167, D.R. Horton, all of the big nationals would put vinyl siding, stack them all side by side, and put the animals in the backyard, and the pricing would be in the low 220s. I talk to the VPs of land acquisition every single week from the top 7 national builders. They want it, period. My job is to make sure that whoever gets it has to keep it nice. Because if this doesn't pass, you're gonna get 167. I will not be a part of it, because I'm not gonna come to Albertville and be like, you did that. I'm not doing it. That is why we're here, to make this nice. It is not a choice of raw, pretty farmland or 241 houses. This is between 167 vinyl siding, or this is, and no sidewalks and no infinity, and we put dirt in the pond, not we, but the builders will, or we get to have a nice community here in Albertville. Those are the two choices. If I could just keep it raw land and it never was gonna be for sale, but because it is open for sale, any national builder is gonna get it, and all they care about is the dollar, 100%. I know that, I talked to them, I understand what they want. And so I just want to let you know, 100% in prayer, me and Jeremy did this morning. So I'm 100% open to, if this passes, doesn't passes, it's gonna be fine either way. But I know that I don't wanna see vinyl siding on that side of town. I don't wanna see no sidewalks. I wanna see a nice community. And honestly, yeah, pridefully, sure, I wanna be able to say I was a part of that. I don't wanna be a part of it if it doesn't pass, and I won't be. You will not see Terra Forge, you will not see my name if it doesn't pass, because I'm not gonna be responsible for 167 BS houses right there. I'm just not doing it. So I hope that, helps. As far as the development, yes, I cannot help where windows come from. I can say that I am strongly trying to get them to give a window company a chance, but they have to match pricing. No builder is gonna voluntarily choose more expensive pricing. These guys have shareholders and value and all this stuff that I don't really understand. I will tell you, all of the developers I've ever used for these developments out here have been local developers. All 3 of them. Every single laborer that I've used to move the dirt and clear a tree lives in Marshall County. I've never outsourced that when we develop. So as far as keeping that in-house, trying to get sourcing, bringing up relatives and not wanting it to be developed, guys, if there was a way for it to be nothing, then that was an option. The problem is this can't be nothing. This already has to be 167 or 241. I just want it to be 241 because of the quality that you're gonna get versus the 161, 167. I already know what you're gonna get. They've already told me what would have to come because the cost of the land. Land in Albertville is not cheap anymore. It used to be 10, 12, 13,000 an acre. Now it's $20,000, $30,000 an acre. So when you spend millions of dollars on land and you only divide it by 60 lots, well, now each lot costs $100,000. How are you gonna have affordable housing on a $100,000 lot? So the math just doesn't make sense as land value increases. So I hope that helps address some of the concerns. I promise I do want what's best for here. We have a lot of different areas, and this is just a very hot market that's coming, and we just want it to grow the right way with the right quality.
Is there anyone else who would like to address the council? Any discussion from the council? At this time, the council can consider ordinance 2041-26 that will approve the request.
Mr. President, I make a motion that we approve ordinance number 2041-26 to approve a request from Terra Forge LLC, represented by 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 4, 0, 0, 0, and 1, 9, 0, 8, 2, 7, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 2, 2, 0, 0, 0.
There's a second.
Second.
Albertville, please call roll.
Broadhurst,
Yes.
McGowan,
Yes.
Bailey,
Yes.
Oakley,
Yes.
Kennemer,
Yes.
unanimous to approve.
Close the council business this morning. Any closing comments from Councilman Broadhurst?
Appreciate all the input. I know it probably didn't go the way everybody thought it might. Not really sure. I think this proposed development, protects the quality of houses versus the way the zoning was before. And that's my vote.
Councilwoman Oakley.
I agree with what's been said. Also, the size of these houses proposed are started over 2,200 square foot with hardy board and brick and, versus, cheaper materials. I'd rather see a controlled neighborhood with nice amenities for families and affordability and, protecting the beauty of the region versus, lesser quality houses and cheaper houses. And with the buffers included, the two entrances, the traffic study, and I know we're continuing to have ongoing discussions in the city, working with, the county commission and ALDOT on traffic control in our city, all the way from, Turnpike to 75, I know has been discussed. For red lights, we've talked about the intersection of South Broad and Walnut at this corner of the subdivision, about potential things the city could do in the growth to enhance, the safety of that area. I also live on Walnut Street. My husband and I built our house in 1989. There are concerns. Personally, we do have a lot of acreage, but, at our age, we're considering downsizing. We don't wanna keep going. So I think this is a lot of the future of the city of Albertville, being able to provide for our growth and for our citizens of our community and, to protect the integrity of the neighborhood. I feel like this is a necessity. I would love to see, my son's back living here, I would love to see young families be able to come back and find housing, find, professional housing. We have a lot of teachers, we have a lot of coaches, we have a lot of people that manage or in the industry, a lot of college graduates, a lot of young families that want to come back to our region, and they want to see affordable housing. They're not of the generation that want, 2 or 3 acres, maybe a half acre lot or less, and this kind of planned unit development will provide opportunities for young families and for professionals to be able to afford to, have a nice house in our city, and I feel like offer protection to the existing citizens that are needed. Thank you. Also, lastly, I would say that I have never been more proud of the city of Albertville than on July 2nd night at Seminole Park of our city administration and park administration, providing an amazing show for our community with the music and the food and beverages and the drone show. The drone show was incredible. There were so many young families out, so many positive things said about that and honoring our veterans. It was just a really proud moment for our city, and I'm glad we were able to do that. Thank you.
Councilman Brown.
Thank y'all for coming. Thank you to those that spoke, whether in favor of or against this development. I wanna say one thing about July the 2nd. Our city had a lot of compliments from a company called Sky Elk. That is the ones that put the drone show on. They did 150 shows across this country the week of the 4th of July, including this past weekend. They were extremely complimentary of our citizens, of our city, of our mayor, council. Everywhere they turned, if they needed help, they got it, and they got it great. they'd love to come back. Now, keep in mind, nothing's cheap anymore. Of course, things were a little inflated with the 250th birthday of our nation. But to see what they can pull off with a minimum number of people, safety-wise and all, I'm very proud of the city. I'm very proud of every citizen in this city. And we had a lot of cars from counties outside of Marshall. In fact, Jamie Smith, our former police chief, and I stood in the big parking lot, the newest parking lot at the park. 36 minutes is all it took to empty. I forgot exactly how many cars. Everybody, we had 3 lines of traffic merging. People were very patient, they weren't blowing their horns, they weren't cussing, they weren't hollering and all this crap. The thing there, that just shows people work together for a good cause. And that was a very good cause for our veterans and for our nation. Thank you again. God bless our city, our state, and our nation.
Just want to say thank you for everyone who spoke. Anyway, people don't realize sometimes the decisions that have to be made are not gonna make everybody happy. And as Steve addressed earlier, you know, there's no doubt that I think the hearts are in the right place, and we have to look at the bigger picture of this, you know. I know school system, there's so many other factors that recognize a need. And so, again, Steve mentioned, I mean, there's things we really need to do a better job of that going forward as we see developments going on. But, again, just wanna thank everybody, for your input, and these are not, you know, easy to decide on. I mean, and sometimes these guys have to look at, you know, what's 5 years down the road, 10 years down the road, and, you know, our median age is something that was not mentioned, today, but our median age for citizens living in Albertville has gone down from, I think, I'm not correct if I'm wrong, but in the high 30s, 38, 39 to like 34.
Yep.
Which is pretty incredible, because we're already beginning to see some of our young kids coming back here. And I mean, that's, everybody here has kind of touched on that. That's, if we're ever gonna continue that cycle, we've got to be proactive in making those kind of decisions that will make those younger people want to come back and establish and be business folks, doctors, lawyers, whatever. So, again, I know it's been a long meeting. Thank y'all.
It has been a long meeting, and I don't wanna belabor it any longer, but I did wanna share some of my thoughts, and certainly want to thank all the residents that got up today, the ones that emailed and called and participated in the process as we went through the planning commission, all the way up to today. It's the passion that all of the citizens, whether for or against, showed today that make Albertville the great place that it is to live. So certainly don't want to take anything away from that, and want everybody to know that the council shares many of the same concerns that everybody brought up. You know, traffic is obviously a concern, safety, property values, all of these things are considerations in our deliberation and thought process. I also understand that for them it's personal, it's emotional. Unfortunately, a governing body isn't an emotional body. We make data-driven, fact-based decisions based on what is the overall impact, either positively or negatively, for our community. So that, you know, that was what we were tasked with. And of course, you know, me personally, when I analyze a decision like this, any kind of zoning decision, I always come at it from a principle philosophy of government that's based on individual rights. I think people's right to life, liberty, and yes, their property is given to them by God. And where, as long as it fits within the bounds of locally adopted laws, they should be able to do what they want to with it. And if the owners of this property want to sell it to a developer who then wants to develop it in this way legally, feel like that right should be protected. Obviously, it should be weighed against the property rights of the neighbors, and so that's what we're tasked with as a council. We have to respect both sides. That's why I like this opportunity, because I'm glad that Tim made the point, because I plan to make the point myself. This planned development gives the city the most oversight and control over the quality of product that this neighborhood will have. Without it, as Tim said, you can fit 167 R1 lots in there right now, and all they have to do is meet the basic subdivision requirements that are exist in our zoning law right now, which is vinyl siding, which is the bare minimum. This ensures a high quality product, and that's why, you know, we like it. So this will allow, you know, the point was made that they're gonna be allowed to cut corners, and all they gotta do is a show of hands to make a change. That is not correct. This will have the full weight and force of the city's zoning laws and enforcement, now that it has been adopted. There's no change in the quality of the bill, there's no change in the type of zoning. Not all of this process would have to start all over again, if a material change wanted to be made to the plan. So this gives us the legal bounds to ensure we've got a high quality product. Second, on property values, I know Tim said, you know, high end 400,000, that may be the case. I mean, in insurance, I deal with reconstruction cost valuations every day on homes, and it's tough to build a high quality home for less than a couple $100,000 a square foot. So we're not talking about cheap houses. When you're building brick veneer and hardboard siding, you're talking about a high quality home that is not gonna hurt market values. And hopefully will, you know, reinforce that upper tier value that we've got in the Broad Street Walnut corridors right now. As far as infrastructure goes, you can't argue with facts. And I doubt Skipper has any skin in the game whether or not they're gonna build the neighborhood, even though somebody said that. Skipper does work for the city, and the state, and cities across the southeast. They're just a transportation engineering firm. They use all of the nationally and state, administered, standards when they evaluate traffic. And certainly it's not just about the numbers, we do agree with that. The city's currently in the comprehensive planning phase right now. Traffic is a high priority that was identified in that, of course, the